If you love your cat, you'd never intentionally hurt them, would you? You feed them, you keep them safe, you give them a warm home. And yes, that matters. But here's the uncomfortable truth most cat owners never hear. Some of the things you do every single day, things that seem completely harmless or even affectionate, are quietly dismantling the bond you think you're building. And your cat is registering every single one. Trust isn't something cats give automatically. It's earned in tiny moments, and it's lost the same way. Not in one big betrayal, but in small, repeated actions that tell your cat, your feelings don't matter here. Your borders don't count. And the heartbreaking part? You probably don't even know you're doing it. Most loving cat owners are making at least 3 of these mistakes right now, and their cats are just enduring it. Let's start with the one that happens in the most vulnerable moment of your cat's day. You're sound asleep. Suddenly, a giant hand comes out of nowhere and grabs you. Your heart races, adrenaline floods your system, you're in fight or flight mode before you even know what's happening. That's what it feels like when you scoop up your sleeping cat without warning. Cats sleep between 12 and 16 hours a day, and much of that is light, vigilant sleep where they're still monitoring their environment for threats. In the wild, being grabbed while sleeping could mean death. That instinct doesn't disappear just because they're on your couch. Here's what the research tells us. A study on feline stress responses published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that sudden, unexpected physical contact during rest triggers the same physiological stress response as a perceived predator threat. Cortisol spikes. Heart rate jumps. And over time, if this happens repeatedly, your cat starts to associate your presence with that spike of fear. You might not see the damage immediately. Your cat might not hiss or scratch. They might just go stiff for a second, then seem fine. But what you don't see is the internal calculation happening. Am I safe here? Can I truly rest? And here's the worst part. Sleep is when cats process experiences and consolidate memories, including social bonds. If their sleep is repeatedly interrupted by startling touch, you're literally interfering with their ability to form secure attachments. The fix is almost too simple. Before you touch a sleeping cat, say their name softly. Let them hear you approach. Give them 2 seconds to register your presence before contact. If they're deeply asleep, let them wake naturally. That small pause tells your cat, you're safe. I respect your vulnerability. And trust grows in exactly those moments. Be honest. How many times have you kept petting your cat even after their tail started twitching? Or when their ears flattened just slightly? You thought, oh, they're fine. They're purring. They haven't bitten me yet. But here's what you're actually teaching your cat. Your communication doesn't work on me. Your no doesn't count. Cats have an entire vocabulary of body language specifically designed to say, I'm reaching my limit, before they have to resort to claws or teeth. The tail swish. The ear rotation. The skin ripple. The sudden stillness. These aren't random movements. They're clear, graduated warnings that behaviorists call the petting-induced aggression ladder. Research on feline social behavior shows that cats have highly variable touch tolerance thresholds, meaning some cats are done after 30 seconds of petting, while others could go for 10 minutes. And that threshold can change based on mood, location, even time of day. Your cat is constantly telling you where the line is. The question is, are you listening? When you ignore those signals and keep going, your cat has 2 choices. Escalate to a bite or scratch, or shut down and tolerate it. Neither builds trust. The first teaches them that communication doesn't work, so they skip straight to violence next time. The second teaches them that their boundaries will be violated, so they stop trying to set them. That's called learned helplessness, and it's the opposite of a trusting relationship. And here's what surprised me when I first learned this. That bite out of nowhere that cat owners always talk about. It's almost never out of nowhere. A study analyzing cat bite incidents found that in 95% of cases, the cat had given at least 3 warning signals that were ignored or misread by the owner. The fix? Learn to read your cat's body language like a language, because that's exactly what it is. The moment you see a tail twitch or ears swivel, stop petting. Give them space. Let them approach you if they want more. You're not rejecting them. You're showing them that their no has power. And that's the foundation of trust. Let me ask you something. Do you keep a spray bottle nearby to correct your cat when they jump on the counter or scratch the furniture? And do you think it's harmless because it's just water? Here's what's really happening. Every time you spray your cat, you're not teaching them that the counter is off limits. You're teaching them that you are unpredictable and dangerous. Cats don't understand punishment the way dogs do. They don't connect the spray with the behavior you're trying to stop. What they learn is this. Sometimes the person I live with attacks me randomly. I need to be on guard. A study in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery on feline learning and cognition confirmed that punishment-based training increases fear and anxiety without effectively reducing unwanted behaviors. And it gets worse. Because you're not always watching, your cat learns that the counter is only dangerous when you're around. So they still jump up, they just wait until you leave. You haven't changed the behavior. You've just taught them to hide it and to fear you. But the deepest damage is to the relationship itself. Trust is built on predictability and safety. When your cat can't predict when you'll suddenly become a threat, they can't ever fully relax around you. You become someone to monitor, not someone to bond with. The alternative? Environmental management and positive reinforcement. Make the counter less appealing with aluminum foil or double-sided tape. Make the cat tree more appealing with catnip and treats. Redirect the behavior instead of punishing it. It takes longer, yes, but you're building trust at the same time you're teaching boundaries. Because the goal was never just to keep them off the counter. It was to share your life with a cat who feels safe with you. If you're realizing you've been doing some of these without knowing the damage, you're not alone. That's exactly why Whisker Wisdom exists. Subscribe so we can help more cat owners build relationships based on understanding, not accidents. And stay with me, because the next 3 habits cut even deeper, and the last one is the mistake that breaks trust at the core. Here's a question you might not have considered. Does your cat get fed at the same time every day? Or does it depend on when you wake up, how busy you are, whether you remembered? Does playtime happen on a schedule, or only when you feel like it? Because here's what most people don't realize. Cats are creatures of ritual. Predictability isn't just comforting to them. It's how they understand the world and assess safety. Research on feline environmental needs published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that cats in unpredictable environments show significantly higher stress markers than cats with consistent routines, even when all their physical needs are met. The inconsistency itself is the stressor. Think about it from your cat's perspective. In the wild, they'd hunt at dawn and dusk, patrol territory on predictable paths, rest in the same safe spots. Their survival depends on understanding patterns. When you feed them at 7 a.m. one day, 10 a.m. the next, and sometimes forget until noon, you're creating a world that doesn't make sense. And in a world that doesn't make sense, they can't trust that their needs will be met. The behavioral fallout shows up in ways you might not connect. Excessive meowing. Anxiety-based destruction. Aggressive food guarding. Following you obsessively. These aren't personality quirks. They're symptoms of environmental unpredictability stress. And here's the part that gets me. We do this out of love, ironically. I'll feed them when they seem hungry. I'll play when they want attention. But what feels responsive to us feels chaotic to them. The fix is structure. Feed at the same times daily, even on weekends. Play sessions at predictable intervals. Cleaning the litter box on a schedule. You don't need to be rigid, but consistency in the big things tells your cat. Your world is stable. I am reliable. And reliability is trust made visible. Let me paint a scenario. Your cat is hiding under the bed. Maybe they're scared of a visitor, or they heard a loud noise, or they just need some alone time. And what do? You reach under and pull them out because you want to comfort them, or show them to a guest, or prove they're friendly. In that moment, you just taught your cat that nowhere is truly safe. Cats are both predators and prey animals. That dual nature means they have a biological need for secure spaces where they can retreat and be completely untouchable. These aren't just preferences. They're psychological necessities for emotional regulation. A study on feline enrichment and welfare found that cats without access to elevated hiding spaces show increased cortisol levels and stress behaviors. But here's the critical part: those spaces only provide security if they're actually respected. A hiding spot you can be dragged out of isn't a hiding spot. It's a trap. When you violate that space, especially repeatedly, you're removing your cat's primary coping mechanism for stress. And the relationship damage is profound. Your cat learns they can't escape you even when they're overwhelmed, which creates a dynamic of powerlessness. And you cannot trust someone who makes you powerless. The behavioral consequences show up as either shutdown or aggression. Some cats stop using their safe spaces and instead become hypervigilant everywhere. Others start lashing out preemptively because they've learned that retreat doesn't work. The fix is absolute. When your cat goes to their safe space, you leave them alone. Period. No reaching in, no coaxing out, no exceptions. If you need to get them for a vet visit, you restructure the environment so they go into a carrier by choice, not force. You respect the boundary completely. Because that hiding spot isn't just a physical space. It's a promise. The promise that they have control over their own body and environment. Break that promise, and you break something fundamental. Here it is. The deepest one. The mistake that erodes trust at its very foundation, and it's the one almost nobody recognizes as a mistake at all. Your cat is talking to you. Every single day. The slow blink from across the room. The head bump against your leg. The specific meow they only use when they want play. The chirp when you come home. These aren't random behaviors. They're intentional communication, and your cat is watching to see if you respond. Here's what most cat owners don't understand. Cats don't meow at each other in the wild. Adult cat vocalizations are almost entirely reserved for human communication. Your cat literally developed a language specifically to talk to you. And when you ignore it, scroll past it, or misread it completely, you're telling them their voice doesn't matter. Research on cat-human attachment published in Current Biology found that cats form specific communication patterns with their owners, and they adjust those patterns based on whether they get meaningful responses. In other words, your cat is testing whether communication works. When they slow blink at you and you don't blink back, you missed a moment of saying, "I love you," in their language. When they bring you a toy and you say, "Not now," you told them their invitation doesn't count. When they meow in a specific tone that means, "I need something," and you guess wrong or ignore it, you've failed a trust test they didn't even tell you they were giving. And over time, one of two things happens. Either your cat stops trying to communicate and becomes distant, or they escalate to more extreme behaviors because the subtle ones didn't work. That's how you end up with a cat who knocks things off counters for attention. You ignored the polite asks. But here's the beautiful part. This is also the most powerful place to build trust. When you slow blink back, your cat's pupils dilate slightly, a sign of emotional response. When you respond to their specific meow by actually figuring out what they need, you're validating their communication. When you engage with the toy they brought, you're saying, "Yes, your invitation matters to me." The fix is attention. Not constant, but intentional. Learn what your cat's specific sounds and behaviors mean. Respond to their bids for connection, even if it's just acknowledging them verbally. Meet their slow blinks. Notice the head bumps. Treat their communication like the gift it is, a solitary animal choosing to connect with you. Because your cat doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. To listen. To care that they're trying to reach you. That's not training. That's relationship. And trust lives right there. At Whisker Wisdom, we believe the best cat owners aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones willing to learn what their cats actually need. If this changed how you see your daily interactions, share it with someone who loves their cat and wants to do better. Your cat is already trying to trust you. Your job is just to prove they're right.